Hey guys, I got a 2000 F250 here today that has a 7.3 liter in it, and you're looking right at the high pressure pump. You can see the whole engine valley on this one was just coated with oil everywhere, and what I did is a good cleaning of it, especially around the high pressure pump here, and I ran it for about 2 minutes. And this is the best way to check it. No dye, no nothing. It's best to clean the area and then actually run the truck and wash it right away so you can see the actual leak. On this one, you can see the high pressure pump fittings here are actually leaking pretty darn good, and over time this will pool up in the engine valley and just come down the bell housing and appear to be a rear main seal leak. Now luckily for these fittings there is a kit available so we can fix them in car without pulling the high pressure pump and kind of fix it up instead of replacing it. So today we're going to be going over that. On the back side of the pump here, there's a plug right here. You can see it right there. That's an 18 millimeter, and we're going to pull that out and we're going to start draining the pump out itself so that the lines and the fittings are dry, because when we put the new fittings in, when you Loctite them in, the threads have to be as clean as possible, and so they can dry up and lock in there and seal up. So 18 millimeter. Get some rags in the valley, pop it out, and it'll drain out for a good long while. Especially once you pull the lines off, it'll just flow out of there and we can drain the actual pump. Alright, so as far as taking these lines off, they're very easy to take off. They're a quick connect design, and there is a Ford special tool for it. Let's see if I can show you here on camera. It's something like that, and it basically spans the line and then presses on it. You don't have to go buy it though. You can buy a cat claw like this, trim tool, and I'll show you how to pop them off of here, hopefully with one hand. Basically stick it in between the collar right here and the fitting, wiggle a little bit, and once you have that tool in there to release it like that, let's see if I can do it here, the line itself should slide right out of there once you have that collar back far enough. It's a little hard to do it on camera here. Alright, so I'll show you now that I got two hands. Same thing, you put your tool in between the release collar here and the line, release it, put it all the way in, wiggle a little bit, and then you just simply pull back and get it out of the way. Alright, so once you got your line off of here and the pump's drained out, we can put a 19 millimeter socket on here and a long extension and start taking these right off. They're just pipe threads, and they'll screw right off. This way you can get straight on. The one next to it there on the right, I use the same setup but with a universal on there, and the things will literally come right off of here, like that. Alright, before we get any further, we're going to go in here and get that spring out of there, and it's got a little tappet on the other end of it. Pay attention, it does go in a certain way upon reinstallation. Now, as far as these ports, they want to get the whole area around it clean and inside of the actual threads clean, so our Loctite on our new fittings will actually set and seal on there and do their job. Alright, now there is a kit right here, this kit right here, that has all the O-rings you need for both fittings, and that back plug we just took out. And then it comes with the Loctite 680, which is required for the threads to put them back in. The reason I get this kit and the fitting kit is because of the seals on the inside here that will wear out over time also, and by us disrupting them, it can actually cause a new leak. So I change it all, change both fittings and change all O-rings, and then it comes with our own little bottle of 680 Loctite, because this may be hard to find and expensive. So I just get the two kits and you'll fix it right. Alright, as far as these fittings go, I take off the black O-ring that comes on them and use the O-ring from the other kit, that reddish one. It's more hard and it's like a neoprene, which is better for the high pressures. And then you put your Loctite 680 on the first three threads as shown on there, and you're ready to put it in there as long as your fittings on the actual pump are all cleaned up. And then we'll torque it down to 25 foot-pounds. Alright, so just make sure your threads on the actual pump here as clean as possible from any residual oil in there. Blow it out, wipe it out best you can so that new Loctite on there can set. And then put your little springs back in here and make sure that the little tappet side of it is on the other side, and you got an open end spring on this side. And then, like I said, take your fitting with the Loctite on it and just put it in there and make sure you self-center in that spring in there so you don't crush it or bind it in there otherwise. And you should be able to see it down the center of the actual fitting also. And make sure you put these in by hand so that we don't do no cross-threading on the aluminum pump here. Once it's in there, we can see that valve inside of there is centered. We're set to go. We can torque it down to 25 foot-pounds on each one of these fittings. Alright, now before you put your lines back on, make sure you put your plug back in here on the back side of it right there. Same thing, clean your threads inside and out, and then put that Loctite 680 in the first 3 threads, red O-ring, and same torque spec as the fittings. It's 25 foot-pounds, and that'll be all sealed up back there. There's no valvage or spring inside of there to mess with or worry about, so don't worry about that. Just pop back in there and torque it down, and we can snap these fittings back on over here. Alright, as far as your lines go, just give them a quick clean on the end of them there so you don't put no debris into the system here. And they simply snap back in. Just get them all lined up in there, give them a little wiggle, and then push them on till they snap just like so. And then give them a good yank, and they shouldn't come off. You don't want these popping off of here when they got 2,000 PSI running through them. It's a major mess, and of course your engine will die. Same thing with this side. And these should go in nice and easy. Now the last thing we got to do is actually put all these connections back on, these electrical connectors we took off and harnesses to get access to those fittings. And let them dry about 10-15 minutes at Loctite before we start going after this engine valley and washing it all out on here or starting the truck and adjusting the oil level. Here's a real good picture of that pump we just fixed on there. Here's the 2 fittings in relation to the back end plug on here. That's the one you want to take out, not that one. And then over here is a really good picture of the connections right here we just changed out, the quick connects, and the spring and the poppet end on there and the direction that they go. Now if you're just having this problem where it's just that slight leak like that, it's better to take care of it now and clean up the area and be done with it than the alternative, which is when these actually blow out fully, the seal on there, it just fills the valley and comes down the bell housing. It can actually flow so much that it'll just stall the engine because there's no more pressure left and it's actually starved for oil. So you don't want to do that. So if you see this leak, follow this video. It's very quick repair on here, and I'll put all the torque specs and the kit part numbers and all that down below. You really can't say it's a design flaw on these to an extent, because most of the ones I've done have around 150 to 200,000 miles on them. This one, like I said, is about 207,000 miles on it, and it's finally failed on here. But there is updated parts out, so you might as well get them and put them on. Like I said, use the red O-rings, not the black ones that come on the fittings, and you should be all set for the life of your truck.